I just want to start off actually just by saying happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And for as much, turbulence, I'd say that the year 2020 has provided inside the football program and certainly all around the country, that we still have a lot to be thankful for. And certainly we're thankful for the leadership of our university, starting with Dr. Frank. We're thankful for all the healthcare providers, who have been taxed all year with really no end in sight. Thankful for the people that just got to get up and just go to work every day and face the reality of the pandemic. And then inside our program, just thankful for our staff and our players to be ranked number 10, on Thanksgiving weekend and against all the things that we've had to deal with this year and all the disruptions to a normal schedule, which we're dealing with right now. But we've got something to play for in December. And we look forward to getting our team back slowly but surely and getting prepared next week to go up to Winston-Salem to play Wake Forest. And with that, questions.
Great. Thank you, Coach. We'll start with Chris Stock from Inside the U. Chris, go ahead.
First off, how are you and your family feeling? And then also just the running backs with Don Chaney Jr. and Jalen Knighton, how they're doing, progressing, and maybe what you expect from them in this final month.
Thanks. I'm feeling a little better. It's remarkable just the wide variety of the different stories and experiences of symptoms with this virus. But again, it's but like I said, it's been the days are getting better as we're going on, which has been good. In terms of the running backs, yeah, I think those guys are just going through the natural development of going through a year. Just sort of the getting into the grind of the season and the day to day and sort of the wear and tear on your bodies and how as a freshman you've got to learn how to really take care of your body throughout the season. And I think that's been a great educational experience for them, and we still think that they've got a great future ahead of them.
Next, we'll go to Manny Navarro from The Athletic. Manny, go ahead.
Hey, Coach Diaz, glad to hear you're feeling better. Wanted to ask you about sort of when you do resume practice, I guess. Usually you guys do that on Sundays, if I'm not mistaken. Do you expect to have, I guess, more guys back at that point, or could it be a progressive thing where during the week guys are coming back at different points? I guess just, you had talked about how difficult it was to practice at times. I'm curious, like when you get started again on Sunday, if you think you'll have a much larger roster than what you left with.
We will we're actually going to go on Monday this week instead of Sunday. Just give us another day. But it will. What I will tell you is that it's still going to be an evolving roster throughout next week as we get guys back, not just from different types of quarantine, but also just through different types of clearance from our medical personnel. So. We'll manage like we've done all year with who we have. Some guys might be able to get walkthrough. Some guys might be able to get practice. And then we'll see what we have on Friday and go play.
Thank you.
Next up, we'll go to Gary Furman from Kane Sport. Gary, go ahead.
Hey, Manny, glad to hear you're doing better. After 8 months of meetings, everything that you guys and everybody else around the country has had to go through with COVID, can you just take us inside the mind of Manny Diaz the minute you find out that now it's caught up to you, and what this last week or so has been like for you dealing with that? And can you also, I don't know how much you're able to tell us, but obviously this had to go pretty deep into the program for games to be rescheduled, and can you just give us an idea of how big of an issue this now is and has been the past several days for the program?
Well, in terms of the issue, like we mentioned, it was fairly obvious at Virginia Tech. I'd mentioned before the game that we were kind of on the brink. So it wasn't going to take a lot more for us to be unable to play. And then, really because of the way that you have to quarantine, if you're out 1 week, it's kind of hard to play the next week, which really became obvious that once we reached that point that it would be just to play the following weekend, but it'd be impossible to play this weekend coming up as well. In terms of myself, I don't know. You just don't spend a lot of time thinking about yourself. You've just been so, hyper in tune to try and do everything right. And we feel like as a program, we really had going back to the summertime. But I think if anything, it just shows the relentless nature of this virus, which, obviously we've always had a lot of respect for. And like I said, the floodwaters finally caught up to us. I think we can see what's going on with the numbers and where they're headed. And it's hard, it's hard to stop. And so really all my thought process was on the team and how we'd manage and how we would segue into, and that's the one thing about 2020 is it's been a year of adaptation. You've got to be able to adapt, and our team, to their credit, they've just sort of adapted, and whatever we can do this week is almost kind of, it almost like we went back into, we had to restart it again, just like we did back in June. We start apart. We'll come back in small groups. We start with, the smaller type workouts that our medical people allow us to have. We follow their direction, just like we did back in the summer, and just like we did in the summertime. We sort of rebuild the ship again, and look forward to getting back out there next weekend.
And now that you're going through all this, does it make you appreciate more, or maybe look at being ranked number 10 at this point as kind of like a tribute to the way the entire program has handled this problem and moved through it?
I'm very proud of what we've accomplished so far, to answer your question. Yes, absolutely. But we also know that they don't, we still have games to play, and no one remembers where anybody was ranked, Thanksgiving weekend. So there's still a lot to do, but it is a sign of the respect of what we've accomplished up to this point. But I think our team, just talking to them, recognizes that there's another chapter, that we're not done yet. This team has more to do. There's more in it. And how we finish is still all in front of us. And I think that's a story that we'll all remember.
Thank you.
Next up, we've got David Lake. David, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Glad you're feeling better. Wanted to ask you, I guess, about the rule with the NCAA granting a free year of eligibility this year. Have you started to have conversations with seniors on whether or not, I guess, they are welcome back, or whether they want to come back? Just what is your philosophy, I guess, in approaching that situation? Is it kind of whatever senior wants to come back, you'll welcome back? Is it a case-by-case basis?
Well, certainly everybody's welcome back, because what these players have had to go through this year, it's one of the best rules the NCAA has ever made, is not making this year count towards eligibility. Because, all you do is look around the country. You got some teams that are not going to get 4 games in. We're very fortunate that we've gotten 8 up to this point. But to your point, we are having those conversations now, not just with our seniors, but our juniors. Kind of what we've tried to do here the last couple of years. Sort of getting some NFL feedback on our guys, just to let them know where they stand. Not just in terms of shaping their decision on what to do for 2021, but really just to kind of give them to hold a mirror out in front of them and say, here's how they see you, and things that maybe you want to try to affect in our run in here in the next couple of games that we have. So yeah, David, we're having those questions right now, but I don't ultimately expect any decisions to be made anytime soon.
What is the value, in your opinion, of having an older team? Do you think that helps with the culture you're trying to establish? Not necessarily even guys that are NFL guys, but guys who do things the right way, have the approach that you like in your program. Is there big value in that, in your opinion?
Of course, David. It's maturity is the word, right? And I've mentioned this over and over again. But we had a great Zoom call this morning with the entire offensive side of the ball, and just guys were talking about what they were thankful for. And the players will tell you they've seen it, especially the junior class. I mentioned this before. The junior class are the ones that were recruited back in 2017. The last time we were in the top 10, and they came in and played 500 ball or part of 500 teams their first 2 years, and they can see the difference in this team. And that's really what you want now. Is now you want the freshmen who maybe aren't even playing a huge role right now to see, oh, this is what a winning team looks like. These are how guys care for each other. This is how guys put the team first instead of themselves first. And the cool thing about it is everyone's going to get better individual goals if they put the team first. And so like I said, the story's not written on the 2020 Hurricanes, but there have been some things, to this point that have been very encouraging to see building the program going forward.
Next up, we'll go to Susan Miller-Degnan from the Herald. Susan, go ahead.
Hey, Manny, very glad that you're feeling at least a little better. I hope a lot. So wondering how concerned you are with the long layoff once you guys start practicing again. I know guys won't be as conditioned. In a different way, I guess they'll be conditioned. And then also, because Wake Forest also has had to postpone a recent game because of COVID. Do you keep in touch with Wake Forest? If not, when would you begin to, in order to ascertain whether you should be traveling there? And I've one follow that's related to that.
The Wake Forest question, that all gets handled, through the administrative level and through the league. But to your point, they are, by accounts going through the same thing that we are, obviously not having played for a couple of weeks. Look, we keep talking the team, it's 2020. I mean, how we have to prepare for the game will be different. I mean, the only thing that this reminds me of a little bit is when we took off, I think 9 days for Irma back in 2017 and the guys kind of came back and, but even then we had the entire team back. Obviously we went to Orlando for a week. This is going to be different. I mean, there's going to be guys coming back different times. Next week, guys getting cleared Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and even Friday. But we have told our team all year long, whenever they allow us to kick off against Wake Forest, when that foot hits the ball, no one's going to care. And it's going to be about our performance. And we've got to be creative as a coaching staff on how we prepare. That's kind of been the motto of this year. You don't get what you want in 2020. You just don't. So you better find a way to make do with what you have. And like I said, I love the way our players have kind of embraced that so far this entire season. I'm sure Wake Forest has been the same way.
Manny, do you feel like it's important to play all 3 games that are still scheduled regarding the CFP rankings and what might happen at the end? How important is it to get those games in?
I want to play as many games with this football team as I can. I mean, I love coaching this team. I love watching the way they play for each other. If they let us play 10 more games, I love to play 10 more games. I mean, how could you not want to be around this football team? And I think we all appreciate it a little bit more, being a part here the last few days. So whatever they let us play, we like, I will say this, we understand that every game we have left is not promised to us. And we kind of look at it as a blessing. We kind of felt that way, shoot the UAB game. I mean, remember this is still the year they told us all summer long was never going to happen. So we're thankful that we've played 8. We're thankful that we're 7-1 and ranked 10th. But we do have a bunch of guys that really want to go back out there and play for each other and play for Miami.
Thank you.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go to Tom D'Angelo from the Palm Beach Post. Tom, go ahead.
Hey, Manny, good to see you. In any other year, if there were 3 games to go and you were ranked number 10, I mean, it'd just be a whole different feeling in a normal year. You still have so much to play for, which a lot of teams don't. How difficult or strange is it to I know you've done it all year, but now you're so close to the end and you have a lot to play for. You have to fight 2 things here. You're not just looking at winning games and advancing as much as you can in the standings of the playoffs, but you're hoping to even play those games, hoping to get kids safe. I don't know. It's kind of, I know I'm asking it awkwardly, but it's kind of, you got 2 major opponents here and you have all year, but you have a lot more to play for now with 3 games left than a lot of teams do.
Yeah, we're thankful for that. I think maybe what you're saying is what you're asking. Every day, in a weird way, provides so much adversity because of just maybe how we're limited in terms of who's at practice or how we can practice, or this, that, and the other. That it's very difficult to look ahead and say, "Wow, if this works out this way and that works out that way, then whatever." Because if things were normal, maybe you could take your eye off the ball because you could kind of relax into the monotony of week by week preparation. But we're about to go through a week next week that's probably been like that will for certain be unlike any other week I've had in my coaching career or anybody else on the staff or on the team. So every day is so unique, and every week this season, to be honest with you, has been so unique. It's kind of forced you to really be where your feet are and just kind of attack those days' issues because. I mean, even like right now, I mean, let's hope we have a chance to, fuss about who's ranked what when we come to the end of December. I mean, that would be awesome if we have that opportunity. Right now, we're just trying to get through, what's right in front of us.
And without getting as much as you can you share what your symptoms were? I mean, what was we hear about so many different things. What was kind of the worst thing you went through?
A lot of headaches and things like that. I don't want to talk too much. The one thing, I feel like I'm talking for the entire program when I speak, and I feel like if I talk about, what I went through, it's so easy. There are so many different stories in our program. We've got so many different stories, and the anecdotes, if you latch on to one, it's easy to do, and you can see where, I knew someone's cousin that got this and it was this way, or someone's cousin got it and it was that way. We've got a wide gamut of stories in this program. I feel fortunate. I feel like I was kind of in the middle, of the gamut, but we've had some people that have gone through it, and it's no fun, and it's something that should be taken seriously, and like I said, hopefully we're getting past it.
Okay, totally understand. Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll wrap up with David Wilson from the Herald. David, go ahead.
Hey, Manny. Hope you are feeling better. Kind of wondering what practice might look like once you get back, just kind of from your perspective and the coaching perspective, because I guess you probably won't be back out on the sidelines Monday. First of all, I'm wondering if other coaches have tested positive without giving names, and what you will what kind of role you would have in practice once it resumes if you are not able to be there in person.
I will be there in person. No,
You will be able to? Okay.
Yeah. I'll be back when we get back out on the field. So, in terms of what it looks like I said, that's we've got to plan all that. We got to figure out exactly who we all have back, not just player wise, but staff wise. And what's today, Wednesday? I mean, we're next week we're still talking about 5 days away, and so you're still waiting on. Are people symptomatic? Are they not symptomatic? You got a kind of a timer that's going off on people. Some days come back after 10 days. Some people come back after 14 days. So, we can probably talk more on Monday's press conference in terms of what the week will look like. Because to be honest, if I told you right now, I'll tell you I'll be there, but I don't know too much other than that.
And have facilities been open, like for guys who have not tested positive? They've been able to go in and use the weight room and stuff like that?
No, we've just had a very small group of prior positives have been able to do some outdoor socially distant running and just get some conditioning in. But we're slowly we're really just taking the same course we did back in the summertime. We're listening to our medical people, and when they allow us to increase the people that can come in the building, then we're increasing it slowly but surely. Hopefully that we can incrementally do that throughout the course of the week and build to getting just about everybody back in some way, shape, or form at the beginning of next week, and then again, just further clearance to allow everybody to be ready to practice and ready to play.
Great. Thank you, Coach. Thanks to all of you. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hope you enjoy your turkey and your football tomorrow, and we'll see you again on Monday.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.